Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode with me today. My name is Greatman Ayelara, and I am a seeker. You can share this particular broadcast with your friends, especially if you have younger friends in your network or in your social medias. It will be very helpful for them. Now, why are we talking about this today? Away from the state of the nation and several other things. It is because the movement that we are pushing is attracting a lot of younger folks from the age of 17 to around 45. And they want to know because there are a lot of things that people are doing because of the fear of hell and then the fear of heaven. When you remove the fear of hell and the fear of heaven from people, you will realize their true color. It's like a man who is not yet to be rich and is well behaved. The possibility of him changing from what he is to what he really is when he has money is very high. So when you try not to threaten people with hell or heaven, then you'll be able to decipher if they are responsible and then if they themselves know what it takes to be human in true sense of it. So today I'm going to be treating a question talking about if premarital sex is a sin for a seeker. Number one, let me define few words in that. Premarital sex is sex that you actually contracted with someone before you got married to them. Marriage is actually an institution of man which was deliberately put in order to control something like sporadic sexual intercourse and illicit sex also. And sin is also another definition of human's moral gauge, but something that has spiritual consequence. Sin is a moral definition of man's weakness or man's limit with some spiritual consequence. And a seeker is not a religious person. A seeker is the one who wants to know everything there is to know. We have several Muslim folks, we have several Christian folks who are seekers because you cannot hold them bound under a certain umbrella and use one book to dictate the tune of your life. They can stand up and ask questions during your teaching or your preaching. They can also query you about the things you are saying to them. That is what it means to be a seeker. And you can also be a seeker without being religious or have a spiritual tag on you, either Christianity and Muslim. Now, let's go back to this main question since I've defined every single word in that particular question. This person wants to know if it is a sin to have premarital sex. And this sin that you are talking about now is against who? Because when you say something is a sin, that means you are actually doing it against someone or something. If this reason why you are going spiritual or wanting to amass spiritual power is to hurt me, that is a sin against me. And if the reason why I'm seeking spiritual power or I'm trying to do some certain thing is to be more powerful than you are, that is a sin against you. And also, there are several sins that I can also commit against myself as a person. It is a sin against me not to take care of my mortal body. A very huge sin against me not to be able to control my lust, my instinct, my intuition, my desire. It is a sin against me myself. If I have weakness for drinking alcohol or gambling and all of those things, it is not sin against anybody. It is a sin against me. Now, in that light, what is a sin? A sin is something that you actually do to shortchange your possibility in this life. So, if I cannot control my lust, and I now start sleeping around, along the way, so many things begin to happen to me, like, let's say, contraction of diseases. And most times when you actually engage in the business of lust, you also invest a lot of money you should use to do better things. And lust actually make you become defenseless. And you become an animal of instinct. You know what instinct means? Instinct means a way that animals, especially animals, respond to stimuli. So every time I have erection, I'm always looking for a woman to sleep with. That is not a way to live. What is the difference between me and someone who cannot resist a bottle of beer? Every time I see a thin in skirt or a man that is tall, I begin to have sexual arousement. That is not a way to live. Because to be a complete human being, you need to know how to take control of every single action that you do. Now, things are not being done for you without your consent. That is what it takes to be a human being. But you know, when you lack control or you cannot take charge of your own action or your inactions, you have become like an animal. For a seeker, whatever you do with this body and on this planet Earth, it is of no consequential effect to what they call the judgment day, or who God is, or who Satan is. We try as much as possible to leave God and Satan out of our own intentional act. We try as much as possible to do that. We also try as much as possible to not give a chance for destiny, for karma, for fate, because we determine all those things through our consciousness in action and inactions. Every scripture referred to God, Spirit of life, as a spirit. How does it affect a spirit if I'm having sex with a human being here? What is the interest of a spirit in my sexuality here? Now, if this spirit gave me this innate or inherent gift of having sexual urge, why should I be judged by the urge that this spirit gave to me? The disposition of this spirit and what I do with my body, how do they correlate? I always tell young people that, look here, there is an energy in the universe. This energy in the universe does not discriminate. There is no discrimination between the black, the white, the yellow, the green, old or young. The energy is neutral. It is free for all. Now, whatever you convert this energy to is solely dependent on you as a person. If you convert the energy to a good use, then good. If you convert it to a bad use, it is still you. But then we believe in cause and effect. I think what religion is trying to teach you is self-control, and you don't teach people self-control. You see, when I begin to tell my child, don't put your hand in the fire, don't put your hand in the fire, the child will not know the gravity of what I'm saying, except he or she tries it. The only thing I can do is to be there when the fire is when it burns. Do you know how many people in your church or your mosque who have been told from day one to day to wherever they are now that it is a sin to drink alcohol and all that, and they are stinkingly engrossed in the habit of alcoholism. Do you guys not open the book of Galatians chapter 5 or so to yourself several times? You talk about the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the sin and all that. Do you still not commit the same thing that you teach yourself about? Talk about humanizing. These same spiritual premarital sex. Do you guys still not do it? Now, why does it persist amongst you? Even though you spend your days going to learn not to do it or being threatened by someone who will punish you when you do it. It is because you believe that you are doing it against someone else aside yourself. So the reason why you will keep doing what is wrong is because you are doing it, you think in your mind that you are doing it to affect someone else aside yourself. So religion will tell you that, okay, when you commit sin, you are committing it against God, and so it's keeping record of all your bad deeds. So when you get to the throne of judgment, it's going to bring out a particular book called the Book of Life, and it will start judging you about the things you have done. So you kept piling it up. I never die now. So in your mind, all you are thinking about is maybe one day when you are gravely healed, you are going to start asking for forgiveness. And they have also taught you a way around it, how to manipulate the justice. Or maybe you're thinking, okay, when I'm old enough, when I think I'm about dying, I will now go and give my life to one Christ, and it will just erase everything I've done. But for now, I'm still full of life and I'm very healthy and agile. Let me keep doing all those things. Because you think you are doing those things to affect someone else aside yourself, that is the reason why you continue in whatever deficiency or inadequacy in your human nature. But being a seeker is bringing this responsibility home. There is no God that you are committing this sin against. Now yourself you did do. Let me put it that way. It's yourself you are doing. Drink alcohol to stupor. Be addicted to it. Don't worry. You will meet it there. When your liver begins to fail, or you begin to make judgment from nothingness, it's you that will feel it, not any God somewhere. Am I saying drinking alcohol is bad? I said to stupor. It reminds me of the first time I took alcohol in my life. It was 11%. That was last month. I'd done something so worthy of award. And I don't wait for people to award me or praise me. So I said, now, they always pop champagne when they do this thing. So I got a bottle of alcohol, 11%, and I took some of it. And my eyes started, I didn't get myself all day. And I told myself, I'm never trying this again. Now, moving away from alcohol, remember, drinking alcohol is not a sin against any God or against any devil. Remember the definition of sin I gave to you. The things you do to limit your own possibility. What they call sin is what you do to affect the temperament and the emotion of the other person or the life of the other person negatively. And you can also sin against yourself. So talking about sexual intercourse right now. If you engage in premarital sex or extramarital sex, have you sinned against God? No. You have just shown the world and yourself that you are a true definition of irresponsibility. Look at yourself in that light. Have you seen Game of the Thrones before? When that woman was actually naked and she was paraded across the street and they start saying shame, shame, shame on her. Imagine yourself in that regard. that you have no control over your sexuality. And it's a shame on you. Take God out of this equation for a moment, because either you sleep with A or B, black or white, it does not concern God. The heaven is not going to open, nothing is going to change. The rain will not fall, the sun will not shine more because you have sex with anybody. And if the reason why you are not engaging in premarital or extramarital sex is because you are scared of hell or heaven, you better go and enjoy yourself now. Because those things are the things you learned when you got here. And because you learned them, possibility there is they are not in existence. One man just start up and say, there must be a repercussion for those who are doing this and all that. Now let's face what is happening to you here, or what will happen to you right here where we are right now. Premarital sex. Why do people say, this is sacred, we should not do it, or I don't care, I can do it? Sex is a natural gift for all mankind and for every living creature. Even the animals, they have sex. Even the plants, they have sex. Sex is needed for our existence. For mankind, sex, number one, is needed to balance your hormone. It serves as an antidepressant hormone for you. So, a woman is just misbehaving, shouting, getting so edgy and so naggy with her husband. Aside money, if you can give her a quality sexual intercourse, a sexual intercourse that takes her to the point of orgasm, possibility there is half of her madness will go away. The same for a man too. It's almost like a constant K for men. Now this man or this woman, must they marry before they have this sex? Since they have gotten to the age of puberty. You know what puberty means? Age where your biological structure, dynamism, uniqueness mature to a point of being able to do most of this adult stuff. When you go to the doctors, single, stressed all the time, agitated and all that, sometimes they also prescribe sexual intercourse for you. When you have sex, who you have sex with, how you have sex, is now a cultural thing. Take Nigeria for instance. In the northern part of Nigeria, a girl child as early as the age of 8 or whatever can have sex. But in the southern part, you have to reach 18 or even 20 something. As a matter of fact, even though your parents know you are having sex, they don't normally discuss sex with you except you are married. But does that mean you are not having it? As a matter of fact, most of you are product of pregnancy out of wedlock. Does that mean you are a mistake? No. Has anything killed your mother or your father for having sex before they got married? If there is heaven or hell, does that really limit or increase their possibility of getting to any? It doesn't have any consequentiality. For the Christians and in the New Testament, there is no single verse that addresses the issue of premarital sex as a premarital sex. 1 Timothy chapter 5 talks about how you must treat every one of you with absolute purity. And purity could be relative. It could mean this thing to you, mean this thing to another person. But what is required of you as a human being? Moderation, self-control. If a sex is premarital or extramarital, it is now dependent on the cultural value system that some set of people share in their locality. Because what you see as something bad against your culture here might be what they approve according to their culture there. Then you will now realize that all of these things have nothing to do with the spirit of life or who you call God. Just like they told you must be baptized before you enter the kingdom of God, just like they told you that Jesus is God, just like they taught you that if you want to go to a paradise straight, you must fight jihad and die in the course of it, just like you learned all of those things, so also your culture taught you so many things as either wrong or bad or good. So absolutely there's nothing good or bad except man put label on them. Let me use the scripture to bring this home for you. When your Bible told you in the book of Genesis that Adam and Eve had sex, was it categorically stated there that they were married? Okay, this man saw this woman and started saying, this is going to be called woman, she's beautiful, she's awesome, see this contour and all of those things. And they like each other and they had what they had. Why? Because at that time it was permitted. And do you know that in the same Bible, it wasn't treated as incest when brothers marry sisters until some point? And all of these things are plainly the doctrines of men. Someone sat down and said, now that I'm in the helm of power, I don't want brothers and sisters to keep having sex. You must not, you must not, you must not. So people now began to call it ordinance or divine instruction or law. Am I giving approval to you to have premarital sex? No. Because I do not even have the authority to either give you approval or disapproval. All I can tell you is to show you, look at it yourself. Are you ready for that sexual intercourse? Because the moment you begin to see sex as a responsibility, you will know that it is more than orgasm and ejaculation and all of those things. It is a pitiable situation that in our days and in our generation, immorality brings food to the table. Yesterday, I wrote on my Yoruba page on Instagram about the achievement of late Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, the mother of Ella Anikulapo Kuti. How even before the time of internet or the time of Instagram and all that, she had the most following in all of Africa. She led 10,000 women, married, unmarried, single, 10,000 women on a march protest against a first-class king in Yoruba land, the Alake of Egba land. That was Obaladapo II. And the king had to actually, is he abdication or abscond or dethrone from the palace? He never came back. Women dethroned him. I wrote about how she was one of those who signed the independence of Nigeria. I wrote about several achievements that she did. And I completed my statement by saying she achieved all this without going nude or sleeping around. And some young ladies stood up and started saying, why should I even throw that jab Does it mean if she sleep around or have sex, does that really nullify our achievement? I said, history don't forgive. If she has slept around, God knows, we would have also stated it on a day like this. And nobody takes such people seriously. So a lot of war on Instagram there. Those young ladies were trying to correct my notion. Young men were trying to tell them that, come, this man is telling you the truth. If you want to trend and want to reign now, and so you go nude and do all those things, history will not forgive you. Tomorrow we will reel it out. We will even help you save it now and bring it out tomorrow. And so the feminism stuff came out, say if it were to be men, I will not say it like that. I said, fella messed a lot of women or married a lot of them. Don't we talk about it right now? Is promiscuity? Don't we talk about it? We still talk about it. It's not left for you to view it as immorality or morality. So what am I saying is, in a world where sexuality, immorality, and all of those things bring food to the table, it is very hard for our children and younger ones to draw the line between what is expected of them and what is not. And in a world where religion actually serves as the antidote to what religion cost. Religion is the one doing you. Religion is the one saving you. Religion will tell you that do not commit sin. Religion will also tell you that when you commit sin, there is a name above all name that you can use to launder that sin. So they render you perpetually weak, and you begin to run the rat maze. You always go back to where you started from. So people are constantly looking for loopholes to mess things up. Naturally, if you see sex as a responsibility, how many people can you be responsible for in your life? I'm asking. If you understand that sex is an emotional, financial, social, economical responsibility, how many people can you be responsible to in your lifetime? Sometimes, as a matter of fact, most of the time, your word had to go before your sex. How you lie to those women, promise them. How you lie to those men, promise them also. Make a vow, covenant, oath at the point of your need. When you are a seeker and you realize that you are the word of life. No, we're talking from the angle of a seeker. When you realize that you are the word of life, and every single word that comes out of you carries its own life, what should you do? You limit how much you say it when you don't mean it. As a matter of fact, you don't say what you don't mean. But when you have no control over your sexual urge, you will plant so many words and give so many promises and so many covenants. This is what I insist as a policy for life. I'd rather point to my grave first before I go back on my word. If I say it to you, I'm going to do it. That's me. So how many women do you want to promise? How many men do you want to promise? Talk about saying it from the angle of your word carries life. Even the woman you are married to, sometimes she might not be in the mood. You have to cajole her with your words. Give her promises so that she can feel good. Now count how many women you have slept with, how many men you have had sex with, and the words that actually gone between you. Now I'm not taking you through the route of saying whenever you have sex with someone, you have become one with them, or you have made covenant with them. I'm never going to take you through that route. That route will rather put fear in you. And whatever fear controls, fear cannot sustain. So all those fallacy, I'm going to dump it. But I'm saying to you right now that knowing that you are a human being comprising of 71% of water, and there is no sexual intercourse without an exchange of water, do you know you are also exchanging for value? Now, having sex with someone that is of no value to you is giving your value to someone who is not valuable. You think about that. Young men, young women, think about that. Now, you don't intend to make life worth living with this person. This person is not valuable to you. But you are exchanging the content of your value with them. The water, the fluid, as a matter of fact, the most sacred water and the fluid in your body is now being poured into another person who is of no value to you. Those things carries your DNA, those things carries your memory, those things carries your healing virtue, those things carry the things you call glory. I'm not saying they will use it negatively or something, but I'm just saying, why sharing what is sacred with someone who is not valuable to you? Why? Now move on quickly to the responsibility of sex. I've had a lot of young girls, young men, took right poison, committed suicide, because they could not handle the emotion of sexual intercourse that did not work out. Either you like it or not, you become emotionally entangled with someone that you have shared your fluid with. How many of you at a certain age we call unmarriageable age can handle the emotion? I'm telling you now that even your mothers and your fathers are still finding it difficult to move on, even though they were married and they are of age. They are finding it difficult to move on when things don't work out again. How much more you? Knowing fully well that as a seeker, looking forward to harnessing the power that lies in the universe, what is most valuable to you is your concentration and your focus. Now you have become entangled with one or two women now, or one or two men now, or one guy now, that is not treating you as valuable the way you treat them. Now they took your attention, your focus away. And then the rest part of your life become a ruin. Because all you can think about now is how they use you and dump you. All you can think about now are the words they say to you that they will not bring to pass. Because those words have become flesh inside of you. So you feel used. You feel devalued. You feel messy. And the time you should put in meditating and knowing all that there is to know, making sure that nothing passed about in the frequency of the universe without you being aware. Investing your mortal time to becoming your divine reality is now being used to think about one guy who has sex with you or one lady who has sex with you. Knowing fully well now that sometimes this sex can make you become an animal of instinct, responding to the stimuli of sexual urge, having no control over your own self. Now, are you prepared for that responsibility that lies with all this sexual intercourse? Are you prepared for all of this? I'll talk about reproduction part of it. What about the visiting result of pregnancy? Unwanted pregnancy. How do you deal with it? Okay, you're telling me, okay, we're going to use protection, contraceptive and all of those things, blah, blah. Yeah, you could escape that. But what if that 1% that the contraceptive cannot cater for becomes one child? What will happen? You begin to master the art of mudra. So, in a situation where you get pregnant and all of those things, look around you right now and see how family value is being eradicated with our own conscious effort. We have a lot of children on the street already who have nobody to cater for them, the Almajiris and the rest. You will hear from this blog and this news house how one woman gave birth to a little baby, dump it in the canal and all of those things. Those atrocious act that human beings begin to now perfect as a way of life. How does it balance the atmosphere and the frequency of this universe? Think about the plague of single motherhood, single fatherhood. Out of convenience. I'm talking about those ones that were created out of convenience. I'm not talking about single motherhood because of divorce. As a matter of fact, even if it is, see, oh my God. I wish I can tell you the truth right now. I'm of the opinion that not everyone should give birth to a child. Not because you are not reproductive or because you are sterile. But look at yourself right now. Your idea of fathering or fatherhood, is it global or is it limited? Or your idea of motherhood, is it global or limited? If you don't know what it takes to parent another person's child, you can't effectively do yours. Because the feeling and the emotion of selfishness cannot raise a good child that is selfless. And I'm also of the opinion, really, that for the first 2 or 5 years of your marriage, don't go into child reproduction. Because most of the children that actually become product of single motherhood, single fatherhood, even though their parents were once married, were given birth to between the first and 5th year of their marriage. Why the rush? That's why I said your sexuality, how you have sex, when you have sex, where you have sex, is totally not of any divine person, of divine responsibility. It is totally dictated by you, by the culture and the value system of your people. First to 5 years of marriage, you are still trying to understand each other. If this will work, if it will not work. During that time, you were busy reproducing, but you don't understand who you are reproducing with. You have no understanding of the person that you are reproducing with. You just went and be opening leg and be giving birth to children. Children that you will put into chaotic lifestyle for the rest of your life. So after 2 years or 1 year or 3 years or 5 years, you guys feel like, okay, we have irreconcilable differences. We want to go apart. And when you are going apart, you tear the life of those children apart. Why don't you calm down? Make it a nature. When you get married, allow yourself to, because you think you know them all. No. And never you opt for marriage because you are pregnant for someone. Pregnancy is never an excuse to be married. Never. But I don't want to deviate. You can use that wisdom. You can teach others. Talking about baby mama, baby dada, or baby daddy, whatever they call it. Single fatherhood, single motherhood, out of convenience. I'm talking about those ones who came through premarital sex. Look at the world right now. It's almost becoming a vogue. It's almost becoming a trend. What does it mean? This is my mother. This is my baby's father. So the baby had to be in between. So my baby, this is my baby's father's wife. This is my baby's mother's husband. Are we crazy? So the child is going to have to deal with 4 parents. 2 step parents, 2 biological parents that are at loggerhead, who are never together. So the child is permanently on his or her own in this world. Look at what that can cause. Young people, look at what that can cause. So when you look at the responsibility of sex, you will be more afraid to have it with anybody. Because most people think it's fun. And that's why you call it, let's go and have fun. I had fun. Sex is not fun. Sex is a responsibility. The emotional, the economical, and also the societal responsibility attached to it. And if you know you are not ready to cater for all of this responsibility attached to sex, but you keep on having it, then that is a sin against humanity and against yourself, not even against any God or spirit of life. You create a messy life. You live in a messy world. That's simple. It is the atmosphere that you create that you will live in. It has nothing to do with the spirit of life. The spirit of life is good at creativity, but very bad at management. Created the world, spring everything into space, and all of those things. You and I are existing, animals are existing, plants are existing, and all of those things. But the spirit of life is never going to come and manage it for you. The spirit of life don't manage your thought, your intuition, your mind, your decision for you. You manage all of these things. So knowing that the repercussion of premarital sex, you are not willing to take care of it. You are putting hardship in the humanity, in the human race. You are making one more human that will be deprived of what it takes to be real human. You are disappointing one more human with the words you promised them, but you know you just want to use them for your sexual rendezvous and go. That's not humanitarian. As a matter of fact, I call sex also a humanitarian job. Because when you don't put your humanity forward before you do these things, life is become messy. It becomes messy. The same goes for extramarital sex. Now you promise this woman or this man that you will be with them, be for them and all that. And all of a sudden, you begin to go behind their back and do all those things. When they find out, how would they feel? Now, does that even make you look responsible as a person? You as a person. Because as a seeker, what we cannot be bold of doing in the open, we don't permit to, we are not permitted to do it in the secret. That's why we are the judge of our own lives. We don't wait for any God or any Allah or any devil or Satan to judge us. We judge ourselves. If you are doing what is right, you know. If you are doing what is bad, you also know. So the greatest way I can reach out to you is to say, let your conscience judge you. What you're doing right now, do you think is right? And you mustn't, because you are a seeker, you don't go to church or mosque and now begin to transgress against the value system of the society where you find yourself. No, you can't transgress against the value system where you find yourself. You are a Yoruba person. What does Yoruba culture talk about sexual intercourse? Please apply it. You are Igbo. What does it say about sexual intercourse? You are Hausa, you are Arewa, whatever you are. You are TV, you are Idoma, you are Efik, you are Niger Deltan. What does it say about sexual whatever? Just when you apply that, you realize that things are easy. When you do that, you think, you know these things are easy. Because major chunk of what forms your conscience and your conviction is actually learned from the value and the culture of your people. So you yourself will not feel so gallantly okay when you do something that transgresses against the atmosphere and the situation where you find yourself. So why do you want to deprive yourself of that kind of peace? Why don't you just do what is right? So we don't do what is right because we are scared of hell or heaven, God or Satan. We do what is right because it is what is right. And in doing what is right, we do what is right all of the time because we are the judge of our own selves. And every day to us is a judgment day. Judgment day is not one day that your world will now assemble before one throne and be taken it one by one. When will it finish? No, every single day is a judgment day. And we are the judge of ourselves. So now, I've detached you from the sky, the heaven religion now. I'm now talking to you now. The move you're about to make on that girl, whom you know, the words you are saying to is lie, total fallacy, and you just want to deceive them. How good do you feel should someone do it to you too? While you are making someone believe that you will be there for them just because you want to have sex with them. How would you feel when someone also tell you they will be there for you under false pretense and under deceit? And what you don't want others to do to you, do it not unto others. Do it not unto others. In rounding up, I tell you this. I've seen lots of couples who dated for the rest of their life, for the first childhood age of their life, adolescence, adult, and they end up getting married. Either they have sex or not, I don't want to know. But what is the possibility that these people will end up together? And it won't be a case of a fuel station nozzle and a vehicle tank, because most people are like that. Most women are like a tank of a vehicle. Any kind of nozzle can give them fuel. Most men are like the nozzle of a fuel station. Any kind of tank, they are ready to put fuel in it. How responsible are you when faithfulness and loyalty, seriousness and determination is out of your human attribute? You are like an animal. It's an animal that can mate with anybody and still feel cool about it. In fact, they mate on the street, they mate anywhere. Are you an animal? Now look at the way you are living your life. See several sexual partners you are with. Now go and take a look at the life of your puppy, of your dog. See, even if you don't have a dog, tune into Night Geo Wild on your cable TV. See the sexual relation between animals and tell me if there is a difference between you and them. I thought you are intelligent. I thought scientifically they say you are 1% intelligent than the animals. So if your 1% intelligence cannot teach you what they call faithfulness and seriousness or loyalty, what is the difference between you and the animals? Now, what is the probability that the person you are dating now, you will end up marrying them, or you will not disappoint them, or they will not disappoint you? If you have all the probability and you are very sure whatever you guys do is you guys' business. But if there's no probability, you date this one, you have sex with them, they leave you, they date another person, they have sex with them, they leave you, they go another place, and yet, what is that? Is that even life? It's like being in a zoo. Everybody can start copulating with yourself. And I bet with you, there are some animals that are more faithful than men when it comes to sexuality. Some are more faithful than men, than human beings when it comes to sexuality. So it's all left to you. Either you engage in premarital sex, extramarital sex, whatever kind of sex. It is not a sin against any God. It is you depriving yourself of the kind of peace, joy, and the life that is awaiting you. When you look at those responsibilities, you will know that there is too much at stake. And either you like it or not. Here is what I want to round up with. When you can't control your sexuality, you cannot control your spirituality. I say it with all sense of responsibility, without a tone of religion. If you cannot control your sexuality, forget about your spirituality. Because either you like it or not, the more people you give access to the dimension of your body, the more uncoordinated and unorganized your body is. The more people you give access to the dimension and the dimension and the organization of your internal body, the more disorganized you are when it comes to spirituality. Talk about your focus, your attention, your ability to meditate, the divine nature and power you carry. When you don't respect the house where all these things are dwelling, you rubbish their potency in you. So young people out there asking if premarital sex is a sin for a seeker, it is not a sin against God. It is you limiting yourself. Look at all the things that you are depriving yourself of. What about extramarital sex? Look at all the things you are depriving yourself of. It is very costly. Money cannot buy those things you are losing out on. Very costly. And sometimes it can also be very deadly. My name is Greatman Ayilara, and you can do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Greatman Ayilara on YouTube. You can also press the subscribe button and the notification button. And if you learn anything at all about this, you can press the share button on Facebook and also share with your people. And we have more videos for you on YouTube, things that will change your life forever. This thing has nothing to do with opening your scripture to the book of or opening your Quran to the book of. It is engaging your intelligence to see what is already before you without paying a dime for hearing the truth. You are the light of the world. Anywhere you get to, make sure your illumination is bringing an end to their darkness. You are the salt of the world. Whatever situation you find that need preservation, please always be at alert to work. You are the word of life. If the words of your mouth will not bind people up, give them hope, move them from one level of success to another level of success, you can do well for humanity by just keeping quiet. And also, your good deeds, your humanitarian work, and your love that you share without expecting anything back in return make you the savior of someone's life and the God that someone is praying to. Namaste.